Good. So give me a moment. We are here. We are here. We are always here. We welcome you, our star seed family. We welcome you while you're ready to step into a whole new paradigm. For all the ones that you call awakened, on a path, this year, part of this year, will set the stage and will be the initiating wave that will facilitate the much needed change that is needed on your planet. So we could start by saying that you are curious to know more. You are curious and ready to align more with an energy that is of a different refraction, a different vibration, and that calls for a certain celebration. And so, while you have symbolically entered into a new, shall we say, chapter of this collective journey that you are on for humanity as a whole. This date, this doorway is quite arbitrary, we may add, like this channel has already put so adequately in her introduction. And so it is not like you close one door and you open another and you step into a whole new reality. It is possible, but not within the predominant frequencies that exist upon your planet and form your predominant timelines at the moment. But there is much change. There is an acceleration and the reconfiguration of a whole different subset of timelines, frequencies. that will start to appear quite literally by the end of March, early April, this calendar year 2022. In fact, what you call your spring equinox will indeed mark a very significant shifting gears. It is what you will call a multi-dimensional gateway portal through which many different flavors, frequencies, dimensional probabilities will be introduced to your collective reality. Now, this shifting gear, this shifting flavor, of course, has many factors. It has many aspects. For some, these will be extremely comfortable and they will be welcomed in with open arms. And it is like you're catching this wave and you're on your board and you are ready to swim. You are ready to roar. While others may find that the nature of that shift is extremely uncomfortable and everything in between. You have left the duality of good and bad, light and dark. So we are always coming from a perspective that is multi-flavored, that is multi-dimensional, that is purely quantum. So many different vibrational frequencies will provide the backdrop to the changes that are coming. And changes, they are. A lot of your old structures are already crumbling, but a lot of that happens behind the scenes, so to speak. So by the 4th, 5th months of this new year, you will start to see the various illustrations of these changes as they will become very clear. You as a collective will be watching that movie, the story. And so, as we have always said, and we will keep saying, do not get caught up in the drama. It is just a movie, but it is a necessary occurrence of events that need to take place, the necessary dominoes that need to fall. At first, to disclose, if you will, the agendas of ill will that have affected your matrix for so very, very long on every aspect of your lives. And not throughout just your current life, but throughout the many, many incarnations that you have had. And so there will be a dismantling of old structures, of structures that are simply no longer in alignment with what is coming, with what is being birthed. And so we are sure that you can imagine with this little bit of insight and from your own experience that these changes and this crumbling and this dismantling and the disclosure will bring a certain discomfort. But you have each other. And that is why we are also deeming this year the year of community, the year of building communities. You have embraced all of your digital technologies, all of you, collectively, individually. And so you can build communities in many ways, physically, digitally. Be creative. We invite you, we inspire you. But the seeds that get sown from the moment of this new energy, let's say from April, May on, these seeds need to be planted carefully. They need to be watered and nurtured and looked after. And we are imploring you, we are asking you to become deliberate thinkers, deliberate creators, deliberate light bearers. So that is where your communities come in, so pivotal. So reach out throughout your groups and come together in community and communicate and share and incubate how to maneuver and navigate these new waves of change and the society that you are wishing to build. And this will take guts and courage and bravery and inspiration and creativity, but most of all, integrity. So we would like to start off with calling this year the year of community. And of course, the overall flavor is change. Change on so many levels. But we assure you that not like perhaps as before, and we have spoken of these changes so many times in our channels. We assure you that this year, the changes will be very clear. And they will be there for all to see. And it depends on your individual overall frequency, how you vibe with these winds of change, with these waves. How anchored are you within your own sense of self? And so, with these two flavors, labels, pointers, we would like to add another little bit of overview, and that is that there will be loss of life, there will be loss of many things, and this is not to scare you. This is not imbued with a sense of doom, but we would like to elaborate in these intimate channels, in these intimate conversations that we have, that there is a bigger plan. And within this plan, there are many souls, there are many beings that have agreed before they were birthed on earth, before they took on this physical incarnation, this physical body. Their soul had agreed to have a certain ending. And so, as there will be very, very opposing energies colliding throughout these months to come, this year and the next years, many souls will choose to exit from this narrative. And that is all right. That is all in accordance with their own soul contract and with the divine plan. So once again, we would like to implore you to not dwell on the loss, on the grief. For understand also that death is but a transition. And it is peacefully indeed. It is peaceful indeed. In most cases, death happens in serenity. And therefore, do not let your emotions get the better of you. And no doubt how your public media, your mainstream media, will latch on to this. The pictures they will paint throughout your media, it is best left to ignore. So there will be loss. There will be loss of life. There will be loss of land. There will be loss as in systems, concepts, institutions becoming defunct. So loss as in a very wide interpretation of the word. But remember what we have said, that it is all part and partial to this divine plan that is like a chess game. And trust that everything that is unfolding is in divine timing. No matter how dramatic and to the contrary this will look upon the surface of your planet and on the screens that are your lives and your movies. Know that we are always holding you in this embrace of love, in this fabric of divine compassion, and that you are never alone. And that is also something that will become more and more visible within your 3 and 4D reality. The legions of helpers that are always walking among you because they form part of you. So, for the moment, we would like to leave it at that. And we invite you to ask your questions. So you can simply unmute yourself and offer your question.
Hello, could I ask a question, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Is it possible to ask 2 questions? The first one came from the message you've just given us regarding loss of land. And I wondered if you could elaborate on that, because I'm thinking you possibly mean loss of land due to earth changes and climate changes. Could you elaborate, please?
Yes, thank you. Give us a moment. Yes. Your suggestion is right. We alluded to the loss of land quite literally to an ongoing cycle of natural occurrences. So you call them natural disasters, but of course, that is quite a funny way of putting it, because that is strictly from a very negative perspective. And so, yes, there will be floods that will reclaim land. There will be continuation of volcanic eruptions, some quite severe, just like the one that has just rested for a moment, the one that was called La Palma. There will be more. There will also be loss of land, not only in a natural, environmental sense, but also due to new reconfigurations of your geographies. Yes, yes. There is going to be a momentum where many indigenous peoples will reclaim their sacred lands. And this will result in the loss of land for the consecutive countries. We are talking about Australia, places in Africa, North America, and so on. So what is a loss for one, you may say, is the joy for another in regaining that which once belonged to them. This is a process that has already, on a very small scale, happened, for instance, in places like New Zealand, some places in South Africa. But this will become commonplace, as all of that is going to form an important part of the reconfiguration of your society. There's going to be a drawing up of new borders. Some borders will disappear. Some borders will appear. There's quite literally going to be a complete reconfiguration for many indigenous peoples. I hope this was helpful.
Yes, thank you very much. The other question is regarding what the humans on this earth are calling med beds. Are they, the technology that is coming to us, are they actually safe for us, or is there some kind of trap involved with these med beds?
Okay, thank you. Now, that is a subject that has also greatly occupied the mind of this vessel, of this channel. In fact, she has researched far and wide about this concept that you call medbeds, colloquially. This has been floating around your certain spiritual communities for quite a while now. And so we would like to start by saying that what you refer to as medical beds or med beds is a very wide subject. There is no such thing as a one particular kind of med bed. This is a healing technology that is off-world, that is based on highly refined crystalline technology. This was introduced in closed quarters only to an elite few in interactions with off-world species, as this technology, this non-invasive, holistic, medical, healing technology exists already on different crafts, different ships, you could call them starships, motherships, different planets within this and other galaxies. This is a very refined, highly vibrational healing modality. And as we said in the beginning of this response, there are different prototypes, there are different types. There is one that is like a bed that is like a pod looking. Then there are others that is basically just kind of like a slab. And there are other varieties. The one that looks like a pod, that has a sort of cover on it, it looks like a kind of transparent coffin, is the one that is mostly in use by the elite few that have been granted access to this technology. In the different backroom agreements that were made between these various factions of what you would call the deep state and the various off-planet species. Now, you probably already sense where this is going. It is too wide of a subject to be speaking about in this particular transmission. But what we would like to say is that the two forms that we have just described to you, the one that looks like a pod and the one that is more like laying on a slab of crystalline material, and it will be in a kind of a room, in a space, a closed space that is for the single purpose of non-invasive crystalline healing. You could call it a healing chamber. That particular, the last one, is not yet available upon your planet. The one that is indeed being used by the chosen few, by the elite, most notably by the deep state military in North America and in what you call Russia. That is a prototype crystal technology that is possible on your world in the current frequencies. But this technology is extremely expansive, and therefore none of the, shall we say, select groups that have access to this technology have been willing to share or are simply unable to mass produce them. Now, we are aware that there are a number of people within your new age spiritual community that have spoken to this particular subject. And some have been saying that these med beds are coming. From our perspective, and from taking a time slice at this very moment in your now, these med beds that are in production are actually only a very weak version of the ones that exist within the covert spaces, covert places. The good news is that as the overall, after the shift that is going to take place this year, within the next 10 to 15 years in your calendar, count, this technology will become more and more available, as it is very much an example. It is a representation and the manifestation of the crystalline frequencies that are going to be predominant upon your planet. But we do not foresee that any of the very high quality, high frequency facilities, crystalline medical facilities, will be disclosed, taken in production, and made available for the public at large in the very near future. This will still take some years. It is something that is coming, as it is a byproduct, a splendid one, of these new crystalline vibrations that are going to be the predominant flavor throughout your society. But that moment has not come yet. Was this helpful?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I would like to ask a question, please.
Yes.
And it is following the previous question. And thank you very much for giving us reassurance about the technologies. I am doing my best to keep my mind open and embrace the technologies that are available to us and becoming more available to us when it comes to healing ourselves and keeping ourselves in the best possible shape and physical and mental and emotional and spiritual levels. And I would like to ask what would be the best way from currently available technologies for us all to keep building their communities and being creative when launching new projects, as for example I myself am working on a project to be of more of service to communities locally and further afield. There are so many virtual places available and channels like WhatsApp and Zoom and Facebook and Telegram, and we seem to be somehow getting a bit lost and overwhelmed and scattered with everything. And I was wondering if you could give some guidance on some tips even how to best utilize what's available to us so that we come in unity and use our unique gifts and powers more efficiently, perhaps? Thank you.
Thank you. So there's several aspects to your query. So what we would like to start with is, as we have said before, integrity is going to be of utmost importance. So within the formations and interactions with the various communities, new communities that are going to be formed or are forming as we speak, always be in alignment. Make sure that everyone in these groups is of likewise vibration. Use your own discernment. Be discerning, as integrity is at the order of the day. So be discerning in choosing and forming of your communities, but at the same time be open, be inclusive. We are not advocating any serious exclusivity, quite the opposite. But central to the communities that are going to be leading these new societies, these new institutions, there needs to be an understanding of the mutual integrity. So focus on that. Safeguard that. And that would apply to the various platforms that are at your disposal. Not every social platform or community is steeped within integrity, or perhaps not within a 5D integrity, an aligned integrity. And that is what we are really pointing out at this moment in your evolution as a species and a society and a planet. So use your own discernment always. You all, every human has been endowed, has been given intuition. So you connect to and you develop your inner guidance. It will never misguide you. And if you pair that with impeccable integrity in the choices of cross-referencing the different social platforms, we are sure that you will be able to come to the right place and the right people and the right platform. Understand that also these social platforms have many streams. And so it is possible that even though perhaps there are segments, there are aspects to a particular social platform or medium that is perhaps not in alignment, it would still be possible by you raising your frequency and by raising your vibration and by vocalizing your concepts and your beliefs and your ideas and your dreams, steeped in total integrity, you see there can be a balance. But what we'd like to give you most of all is to seek out community in the physical. In the course of this year, many of the social restrictions that have been mandated by the various countries and their governments, they will start to dissolve. And so, definitely towards the second half of this year, we would like to encourage you all to actively seek community in reality, in the physicality of your lives. Come together and come together outside in nature. Come together in circles, sit around a fire, sing and dance and hug and embrace when you are welcoming in that very new phase. And that is what we would like to inevitably point out to you. And of course, that it is so important for the human being to be in this physical environment, the physical exchange, the intermingling of the different auric fields. Very nurturing and very necessary, especially after many of you have been passing through prolonged periods of physical isolation, either self-imposed or imposed by the outside, the external. And then, of course, your digital platforms, your electronic means will always intersect. But they should both be approached and nurtured from the same principles, from the same energy frequencies that are flooding your planet now, and will do so in ever increasing intensities and different encodings. As you are being immersed in these crystalline frequencies that were anchored upon your planet by the physical embodiment of that which you call the Christ or the Yeshua. So let that be your guiding light. Use your intuition and your discernment. Aim high. This is definitely a year and years to come, but especially the first 6 months of this year, to dream big. Dream big. Big, 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 bigger, biggest. With the planet Jupiter so prominent within your little solar system's constellation. This is the much needed energy of expansion that will accelerate these dreams, these visions, these hopes, these plans into physicality, into manifestation. So be bold, dream big as an individual and as a group in your communities. Aim for the highest, most in alignment, most blissful, most enlightened, most inspired. That is what we are giving you. Was this helpful?
Thank you very much. That was most helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to offer as well that in the second half of this year, there will be starting to appear a drum roll, a call will go out around your planet for embodied leadership, for embodied, inspired, aligned leadership. And it is with great joy that we can share with you that some of the people, of the beautiful souls that are on this call today, and some souls throughout some of the communities that you already interplaying with, they will answer this call. But this goes out to all. It is part of the dreaming big agenda. It is going to be the new mantra. We are calling out in whispers and in shouts to those holding the light, polishing the diamond they carry within them inside. They know who they are. They are the dust of the star. These calls will go out to all of the beings that will lead humanity through this period of transition. That calls for new enlightened leadership, where there will be a balancing in the feminine and the masculinity. Because there will be an equal rising. And so, this once again is subject for your communities. Who will you entrust with the difficult decisions, with the mapping out of the new strategies, laying in place of the brand new templates for what you call the new earth, for which many, many, many new babies are being birthed. Your next few years will see a upswing, an uptick in pregnancies and the birth of beautiful star-being babies. The new human is among you. And you are here standing at the task to form, to implement the new changes, the guidelines and the foundations for this new world that they will inherit at last. And make it last. So what we would like to give to you as well is to be very deliberate and diligent in the refining of your vessel, the refining of your mind, the refining of your auric fields and your overall vibrations. Embrace integrity. Let it be emblazoned upon the shield that you carry in front of you. Refine your vessel. Refine your thoughts. Refine your diets. Be disciplined. And increase your light. You are here. To finalize the ultimate alchemy, which is to turn the cosmic light into physical, into physicality. So many of you will be called to shift your path, to shift your careers, to shift your relationships, only to find new communities that is what is at hand. That is why this year is so exciting. And we hope that with this modest interaction, we will inspire the ones upon you, amongst you, that will hear that clarion call, those drums, those chimes that chant for all. Who know that that is the song of their soul. It is what you came for. And the time's now. This is the year, the first year, the precipice of the magnanimous change that is going to take place. And that, and all the things connected to the, what you call coronavirus, the global pandemic, it will dissolve it could dissolve today if all would stand in unity and raise the flame in unity. You are not helpless, hopeless victims of some invisible enemy. You are infinite, divine beings. Temporarily whisked into physicality. It is just here to show you, to amplify the polarities. It is here to shake you up, your entire world and its society. Do you want to live in fear, in darkness, and in contraction? Or do you want to live in light, in freedom, and in expansion? So everything that is highlighted within your collective reality, and something as dense as this particular COVID pandemic, it is merely a ploy to string you along. It is here to fire up the most important questions. Are you going to buckle down and crumble and succumb to a possible timeline of dark AI and transhumanism? Or are you going to break your shell and reach for the light? And give birth to a new earth society in the blaze of creational light. Are there more questions? So if there are no more questions, then we would like to close this beautiful gathering by inviting everyone to place your left hand upon your heart. And place the palm right in the middle of your chest, which is the point, the place of your spiritual higher heart. And then breathe into your hand and your heart chakra. And feel that, feel the charge, feel the electricity. Feel how it is alive. This is your most important tool. This is the higher Christed school. This is the portal for all of this change. This is the portal of the ascension and the shift. Your heart is the jewel. Where everything comes alive and alight. It is from that place that you will be asked to align in integrity, to deepen your inner guidance, to go deeper into mediumship, and to develop your own inner innate channel. For you are all capable of channeling. For you are all, through your heart, capable of having direct communication with what's beyond the veil, with all your higher aspects, angelic archangels, spirit animals, ascended masters. They are but names and labels. They are all anchored within your heart. And that is what we would like you to focus on for a start. Understand and realize that every art of channeling, including this one, is a heart-based transmission. Your heart sends out the strongest frequency. Your scientists have already measured it. Your hearts, the ripples of the charge that are emitted from your hearts, they ripple out to the fringes, the outer fringes of the cosmos. Imagine that for a moment. How far is that? Can you even grasp that? Can you even conceptualize that? But it is true. And therefore, it is so important that you refine yourselves, that you reconfigure and recalibrate the essence of your being, that diamond that you are. To be continuously emitting crystalline signal. And that will help as well in the inevitable connection and meeting you will have with the rest of your star brothers and sisters,
Bien?
as
Yeah,
you
we're seeing.
are one galactic family. So we just wanted to
Can you
bring,
start with the garlic while this is melting? Hammer quite a.
so we're just asking you to just take all that we have said to heart and remember that you are the portal. You are the portal through which this transmutation, this ascension is taking place. You are loved. For love is the language of your universe. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your existence. And we thank you for your commitment to your path. Thank you. We are complete. Quite beautiful.
Alexandra,
Thank
name you currently answer to.
Thank you. It was beautiful. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your questions. Don't know. Would anyone like to offer something, or are we good?
I offer you my thanks as always. Really appreciate you doing this. It's a great start to the new year. So thank you very much, Alex. Very much.
No, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you, Alexandra. I'm so grateful for you and for meeting you and everybody, and hope to see you soon. And hope that this amazing year will bring us what is meant to be.
Yes, and you know, it's interesting you should say that, because what I get when we say that, like, let's hope that this year will bring, you know, we do this, you know, that I think that was highlighted in the channel as well. You know, it is us who we envision, we are the seeds, you know, we are the ones. And the more deliberate and the more we, you know, the more aware we come, the more we can create with intention. You know, that's really what I felt sort of from the channel overall. You know, it's not like we're now going to sort of sit back and hope it will sort of magically appear. You know, it doesn't work that way. It's us, it's all of us. And if more of us manifest and nurture these aligned ideas and form these aligned communities, you know, the more this will ripple out, because all the others that are non-aligned are doing it also. So even just to counterbalance that, I think it's so important that, you know, that we realize that we have, that we almost, you know, we have a responsibility especially when you're awakened and when you're on this call, when, you know, there are so many people in all of my groups now, and I am so deeply grateful for that, because, you know, 2021 for me was very much the start of building communities, you know. So, and really what I see is that we are the ones doing it, you know. That's why all of these gatherings are so important. We can't just now rest back and sit on our sofas and say, okay, well, great, you know, see you again next year and everything will be hunky-dory. You know, it really doesn't work that way, because nothing is ever written in stone. You know, there are so many timelines always colliding and intersecting with our collective reality. Our collective reality is nothing but the highest probable timeline. Understand that, you know, we are always, every nanosecond of our awake consciousness, you know, we are being intersected by an infinite amount of timelines, and that which we call collective reality, this movie that is playing out, you know, it is just the most probable timeline with the highest probabilities. And so if we understand that principle, that reality, that truth, then it's very, very easy to understand that we need to become the deliberate creators, you know, for this better world. It's us. No one is going to do it for us. There was a time in, you know, in the sort of new age community, there was, I mean, and it comes, it's like a wave, it comes and goes. And I'm sure your guy, you know, there was this thing, and like, oh, all these other species, the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the Ashtar command, and, you know, you name it, whatever, you know, planet or species or group was gonna come and save us. And it's complete nonsense. First of all, it's completely against universal law. Yeah, go Google it if you do not believe what I say. And it's not, you know, it's very common universal law. They cannot stage an invasion, not even a one to come and save us. And also, what is saving us? You know, everyone has their own agenda, you know. So, but that sort of misconception that, oh, you know, we're so helpless, and, you know, there's a bunch of humans and they want a better world, but there's a bigger group, and, you know, they have a very dark agenda, and, you know, we are going to destroy our planet. And, you know, and I'm not saying none of this is true. Of course, all of that exists within this quantum soup of our day-to-day reality. But it is us, you know, who are awakened, who are connected to our heart, you know, who are listening to our souls, that think, you know, I need to step up to the plate. We need to do better. You know, it's like, okay, I don't know, that was a little bit late to the party. And I really, really feel that that was what I took myself from the sort of the general gist of the channel, was that it's us, you know, and by us refining our vessel, by us, you know, adhering to a practice, raising our frequency, taking in more light, anchoring that light, you know, and coming together in communities, because also in communities, you know, we triple, you know, we quantify the frequency. You know, if any of you, most of you have been in the sacred space, in the gatherings that I facilitate with different ones, you know, and you have experienced it. You know, everything is amplified when we come together. So that's really what I feel from this, what was most predominant or highlighted in this channel. You know, this is the year where the energy will be predominant, that will give us the momentum, you know, to start to have bigger dreams, to birth bigger plans, you know, to be bold. You know, that is really what I feel. And that everything from 2012 up to now has just been preparation. You know, many of us, I know, you know, because we are across different groups, and, you know, we've been in this process of awakening and recalibrating for many years, you know. And so what I feel is that this year, that new complex energy, and that is not a single flavor. When the way it showed it to me in channel is that it was almost like different streams of different matrices. You know, when you see a matrix, it's like binary code. And so I saw different types of binary code in different colors and in different intensity. I saw streams in different geometrical forms, like sacred geometry sort of code. So they're different streams of higher consciousness that will collide within our shared reality. That's it, you know, like Gaia will anchor it, like a, you know, like creating this bubble, this energetic space, and that will enable us to align with these energies and to, you know, to make bigger strides, to have bigger dreams, to have bigger plans. You know, that's really my personal take on it, was very much that. It's a call to action, you know. It's like you will have the wind in your sails. It's, yes, thank you. Like, because I know many of us have struggled for so many years, you know, including me. I am not exempt from any of this, you know. Like, I've had a lot of struggles on many different levels, but I always find that my spirituality is always the thing that saves me, you know. This, I know what I have inside is real and is true, and that is what propels me also to do this, you know. And I can only hope I can inspire and aspire that in others, you know. I know that that's part of my path. But what I feel is that we're going to gain more momentum, because there's still been a lot of polarity. So there were a lot of intersecting streams of consciousness that were not conducive. They were not favorable to these changes and this awakening and these physical, the DNA crystallizing, you know. So we had a lot of headwind, you know. We were like, but I feel this year, so from April on, I feel it's going to be downhill. I feel we're going to get the wind in our sails. And that's why it's so important that we take responsibility. We can't sit back and hope someone else will do it. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that are going to save ourselves, not someone else. And also, you don't need to save anyone. You save yourself, you know. That is what you are asked to do here. You know, Channel says that to me many times, you know. I had a bit of a, over the years, there were times that I was a little bit too much of a missionary. And they always said, you know, in the beginning, they were sort of sweet about it, but then it was like, no. You're not a missionary, you're an emissary. And, you know, I had to go and Google that word. When they first said that to me 8 years ago, I had never heard of that word. I am not even a native English speaker. But when I channeled it, I couldn't even say it. It was like I had to take a moment. And it was like, so it's, you know, enough with the missionary. You are an emissary. And I was like, what is that even? I didn't even know what that was. So I've had many years of getting comfortable with that word. And of course, it is I'm very good with it now. It, I can fit the confines of what that means. So yeah, we are emissaries, and we are here to anchor ourselves. We are not here to save anybody, but I also know that we will. Yes, I've been there. We all do that. And of course, there are different forms of preaching, and, but ultimately, I think, and many of you have been, members and part of the other transmissions and groups that I facilitate. And Channel always says, ultimately it's about, it's always leading you back to you. I am here just to mirror, to shine the light back to you, because I am no different, like I said in the last transmission 2 weeks ago, the time of the guru is over. That is just an imprint. It's just a template. We are all to find and to cultivate the guru within ourselves. And that is really one of my mantras, that I am no different than you. Anything I do, you can do, and maybe even better. So if I'm not leading, if a missionary is not saying, you are your own God or goddess, God is in you, then that is a missionary not to be trusted. Yes, Jill, what did you want to say? No sound.
Yeah, I couldn't find my unmute button. I wanted to ask a question specifically because obviously I'm in the same country as you, so we have the mask mandate and we have the COVID papers. Because yes, I'm taking care of my own sort of spiritual path and my vessel, I'm standing my ground there, but for this whole COVID nonsense to come to an end, I feel that we have to be fighting back more against the system. But that's where it falls down. If I was in England, yes, because I speak the language and the English police I'd laugh at them in their face. The Spanish police, as you know, you do not mess with the Spanish police.
Yeah.
And I don't speak the language. So I don't feel that we can fight back against the system out here. And I just wondered what your sort of view was on that. I mean, I do. My mask says I will not be silenced and I do not consent and unmask the agenda. I have that in English and Spanish, and that's in their face. So I'm standing up to it myself, but how can we bring the system down? Because I don't feel that we can.
That's a very good question. And this has come up in many channels. And so let's say from Divine's perspective, channel always says, it's not so much fighting against it, but it says it's finding the sort of fine line, find the middle ground where you can stand in your integrity. So like you do, and I feel you do that already. So we are not, what is that, the word? Acquiescence. There is no acquiescence on our part of saying, we applaud your mandates, we buckle down, we bow down. But Divine also says it's part of the plan. And so I also found that very difficult, because I was like last year, I was posting all these things on my Facebook, and then I got black, what do you call it? I got silent. I was in Facebook jail, and then Instagram went a little bit difficult, and then in one of the channels, Divine, because I was out there, saying, oh, this virus is a hoax. Don't get vaxxed. I mean, my God, I was out there. And then actually Divine started saying, so channel started saying, okay, we get it, you're getting caught up in the drama of the movie. This is, you know. So they say, okay, so can you step back a little bit? Can you look at it through our eyes? And of course, when I do, flew around the boulders, that's nice, yeah. So the moment you step back, yeah, and I know this is difficult, but I really feel that my meditation and my channeling really helps. So the moment we step back from the drama, when we really almost like zoom out, like we take this bird's view, like almost I see myself above the earth a little bit, and I see it, and I sort of feel my way into it in a much more detached way. And then everything sort of, you know, everything becomes way less important. And it's also like, okay, I can play my part, but I don't have to sort of be out there and stand on the barricades and say, you know, like whatever it is we're saying. Channel always says that by holding your light, by standing in your truth, you're doing the best you can. And that really gave me peace of mind. It also, that of course doesn't mean that if you can't, you find yourself in a conversation with someone. I have friends that are vaccinated, for instance, that completely believe, they already have taken booster shots. They walk around with masks wherever they go, you know. And even though they're in a minority in my life, there are a few. And of course, I sometimes have to interact with them. That doesn't mean I have to all of a sudden lower my standards. That's like, you know, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be here and applaud your shots, your ideas, but can we find a middle ground? Because of course, what also happened was, especially over the last summer, I think I've written about it on Facebook, that all of a sudden vaccinated people started pointing the very guilty finger at the unvaccinated, especially here in Europe. You know, that my friends started sending me WhatsApps, like, freaking believable, that I was, you know, and people like me were the reason why COVID was spiking, why there were so many contagions, why we probably had to go back in lockdown, why, you know, why the hospitals were, you know, overflowing. And I was like, you know, like, I was literally like doing this kind of like Superman thing, like, no, or Superwoman, like, you know, I'm not here receiving your negative energy, you know, go and project it somewhere else. I'm projecting it right back at you. It's like, because, you know, I said, where is the science? You're all vaccinated, but you're all now ending up in hospital, you know. So I said, that has nothing to do with me, you know. That's like a whole different cup of tea. And so that's kind of what channel is saying. So you need to stand within your integrity and within your belief. And we all have varying degrees of belief and how we see the pandemic, and, you know, but divine always says, I wanted to join the manifestation here in Barcelona. There's quite a growing group of them now, and I went once and then I wanted to go again. And some of my friends are going, and you know, they awakened their inner activist, and I was so inspired, and I thought, that's what we need to do. And then channel told me off. It's like, no, your place, you are not. What did we tell you? You are not to go out. It can get violent. And it actually did. It said it can get violent. We don't want you in that energy. You know, we told you it is not your task to go and, you know, and be so, you know, aggressive about it and loud. Your task is, when you are asked, you will give your opinion and, you know, your perspective on it in your integrity. You hold your light, and that's all you do. basically. That's sort of what it came down to. So I hope, so it's a little bit depending on my mood. I do speak Spanish, so I can engage in it in different languages. But yeah, that's a little bit how I look at it, and how I try to sort of navigate it. I hope that helps. So yeah. Well, lovelies, I think this was it. It was really, really very nice. And I will keep all of you informed when I'm guided to host the next energy transmission. As I've already said, they are going to be different and also less frequent this year. But I will definitely keep you posted. And anyway, I thank you as always from my heart. You are my beloved community. This is what has really been my biggest joy and achievement this year. And I'm intending to go full steam ahead and consolidate this, because this is the way forward. And also this is how we give strength to each other, how we support each other, because many of us are, so like Jill and many write to me and contact me saying, I live here and I'm all alone. I have no support around me. I'm the only one that's not vaxxed, or I'm the only one that believes in aliens, and I'm the only one that meditates. And I totally get that. That's also why I think Channel sort of offered that, why elaborated, why, of course, the digital platforms are so beautiful and so useful, because it is a way to connect, outside the box and outside of the physical parameters, So having said that, I'm looking forward to meeting some of you in the physical this year. I am very busy creating occasions and events where hopefully that will happen. And so from my heart to yours, happy new year, and see us all soon. Okay,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
I'm really holding intention that travel will become easier this year.
Yes, me too. I have a feeling. It's interesting. Nobody asked that. I thought someone, I was sure someone would ask that, but nobody asked about it.
I did think of asking, and I thought, oh, I've got too many questions to ask.
Yeah, it's I'm sure we will touch on it a different moment. Okay, so thank you, beautiful beings.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful new year, and see you all soon. Yeah, much love. Ciao. Bye, Wana. Bye-bye.